Business Solutions. We are a leading corporate training service providers in the emerging market. So here is a glimpse of our learning and development services here. So we provide end-to-end service learning solutions with ILT, VILT, and along with the cloud lab solutions. And we here proactively approach towards the problem solving solutioning, and we our major services are like open house trainings and webinars along with the VILT and ILT trainings. So we have 1500 plus tried and tested trainers with us in our repository, along with the more than 6000 freelance consultants with all the wide experience knowledge on all the niche and vanilla technologies. So I would be glad to tell you all that we have already trained more than 10,000 participants across the cutting edge technologies all over the country. And we are present across the country with physical and virtual labs. So moving forward, these are our footprints. We are present in corporate training, information technologies, mechanical engineering services, civil engineering services, cloud services, and HR services. So moving forward, these are the few delivery modes which we use for the delivering the learning solutions here. So we, as you all will be knowing, the classroom and virtual trainings, we are expertised in the open house and mentor on demand training sessions. Wherein mentor on demand is like a program where we provide the trainer to clear the doubts for the participants who have already taken the training with the e-learning modules. So we are known for this in the market, and for the open house trainings wherein very few participants might need a training requirement training on a particular technology, so we will be providing the customized training service on this for our especially for our clients. So moving forward, so these are our offerings. So we provide campus to corporate trainings, competency development trainings, project consulting, and soft skill and behavioral development programs as well. So I can tell that we are expertised in the campus to corporate competency and soft skills and behaviorals. We have a huge pool of trainers with us who are expertised with 15 to 20 years of experience in corporate trainings itself, and we are good in that. So and moving forward, these are our few clienteles we are where we are successfully providing the trainings and all. So next, so coming today for today's webinar, we are on automation using PowerShell. So today's speaker is Jitendra Singh Tomar. He is a Microsoft certified trainer who has more than 10 years of experience, including 6 years of training experience and 4+ years of experience in production. He has conducted trainings for both induction and lateral crowd. Mr. Jitender is a Microsoft certified trainer on Microsoft Azure, and here a few of his key expertise are AWS, Cloud, GCP, Windows Server, RHEL, PowerShell scripting, and etc. And hi Jitu, welcome. And I would like to give over to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bhagya. Thank you so much. Hello, guys. Good afternoon. This is Jitendra Singh Tomar. In short, you guys can call me Jitu. So we know why exactly we are here. We are here for the PowerShell automation webinar. Okay, so this is a 2 hours session. So in 2 hours, everything practically speaking cannot be completed. But I'm trying my best to take as much as I can, and most importantly, I'm not gonna give uh, more theoretical part, because frankly speaking, this is more practical rather than theoretical. For reading purpose and all, I will provide you PDFs and other things, but we need to understand how practically PowerShell works out, and how exactly you can use that in your day-to-day life. Okay, so that is the main agenda for today. So let me share my screen quickly, and let's begin with the PowerShell webinar. Now, for you guys, those who want to ask the questions regarding any of the topic or any of the content, Feel free to drop the questions in the chat window, and I will try to answer all of them. If I missed out something, don't worry. I will be sharing a complete commonly asked questions in the chat window. Whatever you guys ask me, I will be sharing an answer sheet. Later on, my team will be sending an email to you with all the hands-on. Yes, I'm gonna give you hands-on where you can practice. Okay, it is not gonna be just like I will deliver it and you'll just forget about it. No, it is about your practice also. So I'll be giving you some set of questions that you can perform, and then later on, maybe on Monday or maybe by Tuesday, we will be sharing the answer sheet also, that you can verify. Okay. See, approach can be different. I think it in a different way, and you guys obviously think in a different way. So approach could be different, but answer should be the solution should be equivalent. So that is my way of thinking. Still, if you have any concerns, later on we will be dropping the contact mail IDs. So there you can drop your questions and feel free to ask anything. So let's begin with the PowerShell content. Before I begin with anything, just give me a quick yes if you are able to hear me properly and screen is visible to you. Drop a yes in the chat window, please. Someone asked that do we get the recording? Yes, guys, you will be getting the recording as well, and it will be available on YouTube and on our website as well. So we'll be sharing all the links with you guys. So no need to worry about that. Perfect, perfect. I got multiple yeses. So great. We can now begin. Thank you for your responses. So before we start with anything, before I start telling what exactly it is, I want to know from you guys what you know about PowerShell. Okay. And even wrong answers are welcomed. I'm completely fine with that also. Okay. See, I want to make it two-way communication. It shouldn't be one way or a radio broadcast where only I will be speaking and you'll be listening. I want two-way communication. So please drop your questions and whatever I'll be asking. So for now, I have asked you, do you know about PowerShell? If you know what it is, just give one liner. One liners are more than sufficient. What is PowerShell? Come on, guys, quickly. I'm waiting for your responses. Okay, I started receiving answers. Linux like bash interface for Windows. Okay, acceptable. Similar to command. Yes, it is acceptable. Command line scripting language, that is also acceptable. Okay. Overall, you know the basic meaning of what exactly it is, a terminal for Windows. Okay. Okay. If it is a terminal for Windows, then what is Windows terminal? If I search on my machine, if I type term, which is basically for terminal, it opens, it gives me this kind of response. Possibly it might not be there on your machine, but there is something called as Windows terminal. I'll be talking about that also, don't worry. But overall, it is correct. Scripting to perform action on Linux distribution. Uh, it is not only for Linux. Okay, overall, you got the idea. You have somewhat idea that what exactly it is. Fine. Now let me start what exactly it is. So basically, when you talk about PowerShell, the first thing you have to know is it is a Windows application. It is a Windows application. Okay. As I proceed further in the webinar, I will change certain definitions because right now, if I'm telling, okay, it is for Windows right now, after some time, I will say it is for Linux and Mac also, because yes, it is now available for Windows and non-Windows platform as well. That is the reason. So do not get confused with that. Initially, PowerShell was only released for Microsoft operating systems only. Okay, so it is very much similar to command prompt, like how you get command prompt by default with your operating system. Let it be a Windows server machine, let it be a Windows client machine. You will get command prompt by default with both the operating systems. In the same exact manner, now we have PowerShell also available with both client and server operating system as well. Which version you are using, it is purely dependent on which operating system you are using. PowerShell version is dependent on operating system. Okay. Earlier, it was not released with the Microsoft operating system itself. PowerShell was basically introduced in year 2006, November 2006. Okay. Before that, only we had Microsoft operating system, but it was not, PowerShell was not part of those operating systems. So in year 2006, you had to, like if you're working with the XP machine or any older machine like that, so you have to go to Microsoft website, download the MSI or exe file, install it, and then it will be available on your machine. Now, by default, the moment you install the operating system, or you might be using company's laptop, company's IT team have already installed that for you. So even the PowerShell is a part of your operating system by default. You want it, you don't want it, it is part of your life now. How to use it, that makes your things much easier. Okay. Now, so basically, this is PowerShell basic that you should be knowing. Today's agenda, what exactly we'll be doing, what exactly we will be dealing over here. So basically, today we'll start with what is PowerShell. Okay, because we need to know the basics of it. Then we'll be going through the PowerShell. You must be obviously thinking, Jitu, when already command prompt is there, why we need PowerShell? It is a valid and genuine question. So I will be clarifying that as well. Then previous or sorry, various PowerShell versions. Your PowerShell version is not gonna stick with only with one single version. There are multiple versions available, and depending upon the requirement, you have to use the uh, proper version. Some features are supported in some versions, some features are not supported in another versions. You have to be very much careful. Then which version to use? Obviously, when you have multiple versions available, then you have to know that which exact version you should be using in your environment. Then working locally. So basically, when you know that, okay, this is the version I am using, so you should be knowing that how exactly you can use them locally on your machine. Let it be your company's laptop, let it be your home desktop, whatsoever it is. You should be able to use that for your day-to-day activities. Then how you can fetch. This is a very interesting section about PowerShell. PowerShell does not only work with basic commands, but also it will help you out in fetching the report. It can generate the report for your machine and for the remote machines also. Like assume that your production environment contains maybe 500 machines, 500 Windows machine, or 1000 Windows machine, or 2000 or 10,000 Windows machines. Currently, I'm gonna stick with only Windows. Later, I will change my speech to Windows and cross platforms as well. So as of now, assume that you have 10,000 Windows machines available, and your manager asks that, okay, can you fetch the hardware, like what exactly hardware you are using from each and every machine. Nowadays, VMware does that particular job for us. Maybe you want to check a particular file is available in a location or not. Or maybe you have to create a particular file in a specific location or not. Then you need to verify that whether particular file is there or not. So if it is one or two machines, okay, obviously it is very easy. If it is 10,000 machine, imagine if you have to take the RDP, remote desktop protocol, log into each and every machine, and then verify whether the particular file is there or not. So it is quite difficult for a number of machines. So how PowerShell basically will help you out. We will be looking into that as well. Obviously, I do not have 10,000 set of 10,000 machines, but I have created a small lab that contains a domain controller, a DC machine, and two member machines, member one and member two. So we'll be playing with those machines as well. Then how you can fetch the reports, whether a particular service is running or not running. Okay, so those kind of things you have to figure it out. Then how exactly you can use PowerShell. Then we will be working remotely. Maybe you have to install maybe some roles, some features on multiple machines. How exactly? Obviously, you're not gonna call that particular person, okay, I need your machine and I need to install that. Being an admin, you can't ask thousands of users to do that. PowerShell will do the particular job for you. PowerShell will basically allow you to perform whatever creation or deletion or management, whatever you have to do, it can be done easily with the help of PowerShell. Then managing your environment with DSC. This is one of the most important factor. This is the most important factor in PowerShell. DSC basically stands for desired state configuration, which name says that desire, whatever is your desire for your environment. In terms of compliance policy, you want the firewall should be on, off. When you want to apply rules on multiple machines, how exactly it can be done, that is what we are gonna see over here. Where I can use PowerShell, obviously it is not gonna stick only with one single product. There are multiple things that can be done. So we'll be looking into that as well. And obviously it has the practicals. So basically this is the overall things that we have to cover in this entire session. Okay, so let's begin with the first part. Okay, you guys already know about this thing. So what exactly is PowerShell? Okay, so PowerShell is basically the command line. Okay, if you are working in any machine, let it be a server operating system, let it be a client operating system. In whatever machine you are working right now, PowerShell is available as a command line utility where you can simply press Windows R, where run prompt will appear, and then you can simply write some commands. Okay, so basically this will help you out in performing. Let me take a color, suitable color here. So this is a simple command line, okay, and a scripting language. So basically PowerShell will allow you to run multiple commands together, which basically creates a script. Now this script can be executed for your own local machine and for bulk machines also. When I say bulk, maybe it is 2 or 20 or 200 or 2000, doesn't matter. Just you should be having the list of IP addresses or the names of your machines. If you have, that is more than sufficient for you. Okay, which is obviously created. I told you that it is created by Microsoft. Okay. Now, most important thing why PowerShell, why you need to learn PowerShell is it is helping out in the automating the administrative tasks. Okay. Now, if you're thinking Jitu command prompt is also there, we can write VB script and bash script and whatnot. Yes, it is doable, but PowerShell contains the list of default commandlets plus you can add more commands to it. If I want to only work with my own machine, I don't have to do anything over here. But assume that I have to work with Azure also. Maybe I have to write a PowerShell script that can create a resource group and it can create some virtual machines for me and it can configure virtual machines for me. I can simply write PowerShell script and that will do the job for me. There are other ways. I'm not denying that there are that we have only PowerShell to do the same thing. No, I'm not denying. But PowerShell is one of the easiest method to perform that job. Then PowerShell allow users to perform tasks like you can manage your files, you can manage your processes, services, registries. Imagine you are writing a program, an application that is needed by your client, but there is a requirement in the application where you have to work with some registries. Obviously, you're not going to ask your client that please go to this particular registry and do the modifications over here. PowerShell is enough capable of performing all those things directly just by writing one single script. Let it be your local machine, let it be your local user. It could be any type of registry key that can be managed with the help of PowerShell. Now, one of the most important thing over here is in PowerShell, in command prompt, we have commands. dir is a command, date is a command, okay? CLS is a command. But here in PowerShell, we don't call them as commands, we call them as commandlets, which is the combination of verb hyphen noun. It is a format like verb hyphen noun. And this is not an interchangeable format. It will be always written like that only. There are bigger commands. To resolve the bigger command problem, you can memorize the aliases. Aliases are nothing but the short names. Like in the beginning, I told you that my name is Jitendra Singh Tomar. That is the full name. In short, G2. That is the alias. So we have huge commandlets also available in PowerShell, and then we have the shortcuts or the aliases also available in PowerShell. Not only this much, you can also create your own commandlets also. You can create your own aliases also. PowerShell is so flexible. There are several commands like whenever I log in to my machine to perform several tasks, or every time when I log in, I want particular things to be popped up. Like I want to see CPU usage maybe, or I want to see whether the internet is connecting or not. Like that, I can create my own set of commands and then I can use it. The only thing is, it will be only available for my local machine itself. If you are thinking that the particular script can be run on or can be executed on multiple machines directly, no, it cannot be done. But there is a way. Using remoting, which I told you in the introduction part, using remoting, it can be managed. So whatever commands you have created for your own local machine, it can be executed for other machines as well. Okay, this is how the flexibility of uh, PowerShell works out. Okay, now basic difference between command prompt and PowerShell. So you already think that okay, PowerShell is already sorry, command prompt is already available. Why do we need PowerShell? That's correct also. Why unnecessarily we are increasing our burden? But the thing is, command prompt is not completely capable of performing all the admin related tasks. If you have the knowledge on Windows Server operating system, let it be Windows Server 2008, 8R2, 12, 12R2, 16, 19, 22, whatever it is. If you have to create users in bulk, when I say bulk, it can be 2 users, 20 users, 200, 2000, 20,000, more than that also. If you start creating using GUI, you are gone. Simple. But PowerShell can do the same thing within fraction of seconds. Let it be 10,000 users also. Hardly it is going to take much processing time. That's it. But the user creation is going to be very simple, which is much more difficult in command prompt. Then you have PowerShell. PowerShell is basically using the small reusable commandlets. Small commands are there. You can club all of them together and then you can create your own scripts. If you feel that, okay, I need to go beyond this, you can create your own commands also. At least that will work on your machine. Okay. PowerShell has more advanced scripting capabilities, like it can also support variable loops and conditional statements. This point itself gives the entire privilege of writing your own programs. Let me take a simple example. I have given you a list of 500 websites. Now, if I ask you, okay, do one thing, make sure that the pingable websites are listed in green color and non-pingable websites are listed in red color. So if you check Microsoft.com, by default, it does not ping. Okay. If you check pioneerbusinesssolution.in, it will ping. So I want PBS website name should be displayed in green color and Microsoft in red color. How you're going to do that? Now you're thinking, G2, it looks very difficult. Believe me, this program can be simply written in 5 to 8 lines, which will basically do everything for me. PowerShell is very much capable of performing these kind of things. And I was talking about colors. Yes, PowerShell by default provides few colors. I think there are 7 to 8 color combinations which are available. Sorry guys, it is PowerShell is created by a guy, and frankly speaking, we guys have less sense of color. At least I have very less sense. If it was developed by a lady, definitely we could have got more color combinations available over there. But jokes apart, we have very less colors available, like black, red, white, green, dark gray, dark green, like that. Hardly 8 to 10 colors are there, not more than that. But still, it will do the job for you. And also, PowerShell supports your OOPS concept. So if you have the knowledge of the programming, if you know how to program, if you have done any other programming, let it be C, C++, Python, or anything else, then if you jump onto PowerShell, still it is going to be much simpler. But it doesn't mean that if you are not a developer, PowerShell is not for you. Believe me, still you can write your own PowerShell scripts. Obviously, you're going to face some challenges, okay, where the logic part you have to think and apply. There you might have some trouble. Otherwise, PowerShell is very simple. If you understand the logic completely, if you know what can be used where, you will be able to run any script that you desire. So this is about basic thing, which is making PowerShell different from command prompt. These are the different PowerShell versions which are available, and these are the versions which are available over here. You can see PowerShell version 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.1, 6, 7, 7.1, 7.2. 7.3 is in beta version right now. It is not released properly, so I have not added over here. And there you can see on the right side, these are the release dates. Okay. Now, when you talk about PowerShell version, like let's take the example of the first version here, PowerShell version 1.0. It was introduced in year 2006, where it was introduced as a downloadable file. You have to go to internet, download it, and then use it. Okay, download, install, and then use it. From Windows 7, the client version Windows 7, it was the part of the operating system itself. Means those who have worked on Windows 7, you guys have already, you might have seen the PowerShell version 2 over there. And then after that, with every PowerShell version release or Windows operating system release, new PowerShell versions were added to those operating systems. So I am using Windows 11 as of now. Okay. So by default, I have this PowerShell version 5.1. Possibly you might be using 5.1 or 5.0, anything 5.x is acceptable. Okay. So what is the major difference between these versions? One of the major version I can say, major difference I can say, PowerShell version 1 contains only 720 commands in it, or technically speaking, commandlets in it. Now, as of now, if I talk about my machine is having more than that actually. My machine has nearly 6,000 commandlets because I've installed some additional module. But if you talk about the default structure, it will be containing somewhere around 1.5K, 1,500 commandlets in it, almost just double. Okay, so depending upon the requirement, you have to select which PowerShell version you are using. Now, if you're thinking, Jitu, how we will identify on which version we are working, let us start with our small practical over here. So I'll go for Windows R and then I'll type simply PowerShell over here. And it opens up this kind of screen. Now, possibly for you, it could be some blue screen. Okay, I am using Windows 11, and in Windows 11, Windows Terminal is by default available. So do not get confused with that. It is PowerShell. How can you identify? You can see here in the beginning, PS is written. If I open command prompt over here, command prompt does not have the PS in front of it. Okay, but one thing, let me show you. If you are lazy like me, I'm very lazy in these things. But if you're lazy like me, you don't want to again press Windows R and type PowerShell and then open PowerShell window, but you already have command prompt opened in front of you. What you can do is you can simply type here PowerShell, hit enter, and voila. The same command prompt turned into PowerShell. You want to come back, type exit, and you are out of it. And it is vice versa also. You have logged into PowerShell, you type command prompt over there, then you will be able to use command prompt. Like this is PowerShell, PS. Now if I type here CMD, enter, check. PS is now removed in the next line. Once my job is done, I can simply type exit and I'm out of it. So it is very much interchangeable. Now, most important question, how will you identify? So there are different commands to identify. One of the famous command is ps version table. Now, if you notice one thing, PowerShell here, I started writing with dollar and then I started writing PSV and then I hit the tab button and it automatically changes everything. So PowerShell, unlike Linux, PowerShell is not case sensitive. You write whatever you want, hit tab button, PowerShell will understand and then adjust the things for you. That is the beauty of it. In Linux, you have to be very careful when you type the commands over there. You cannot go for the capitals unless you're using the variables in the script. But here, no matter. You write in small, you hit tab, it will automatically manage everything. You write in capital, hit tab, it will manage everything for you. Or if you don't want to do that, you can simply write $PS version table also. All small, hit enter, it gives the output. And if I do this, then also it gives the output. So PowerShell is acceptable in any way. You go for capital, you go for small, you go for camel notation or anything, it will work in the same manner only. Now here, if you check this PS version, here it's written PowerShell value 5.1. This is the build and the revision number over here. Major build and minor build number. Okay. So this is the line that you have to see. If this is much difficult, there is one more command here called $host dot version, and it gives this exact information. Major is 5, minor is 1, which is 5.1. This is the build number, this is the revision number. This built and revision number, don't stick to this because these numbers will keep on changing. When you update your operating system, whenever you patch it, the version might be upgraded. So don't stick to these build number and revision number. Just stick to this one. You're using major 5. That's it. Okay. So this is how you can identify how exactly you can use the PowerShell, which version you are using in your operating system. Okay. Now, which version to use? There are so many versions available over here. Which one to use over here? Now, remember one thing. When you talk about PowerShell version from version 1 till version 5.1, when you talk about this itself, this is the from version 1 till 5.1, this is the Microsoft's default application, which is by default available. If you exclude version 1 from 2 to 5.1, it is by default part of your operating system. And it is the Microsoft's own proprietary product. You can't hack into it. Means if you know, you can, but that is not the legal one. You cannot modify that particular application. You cannot work with that. In year 2016, Microsoft took PowerShell and they went open source. So from PowerShell version 6 till whatever is there in the end. Currently it is 7.2, after that 7.3 and so on. This is basically your open source applications. Meaning this is the open source application. You can download the source code from GitHub. You know programming, you go and modify that and use it or sell it, whatever you want. But now it is available on the source code is available on GitHub. Not only for Windows, but for non-Windows, including Linux and Mac also. That is the beauty of PowerShell. That is the reason in the beginning I told right now, I'm saying that it is only for Windows right now, but later I will change it. I will change the statement. Why I'm changing it? Because now PowerShell is for both Windows and non-Windows also. If you don't trust me, no problem. I will show you that as well. Download Windows 7. Yeah, there it is. GitHub. See, PowerShell version 7.3.3. It is the latest right now. Okay. It is the latest right now. Okay. If I scroll down, check. Let me magnify. These are the hashes to verify. You can ignore that. Those who are from Linux background, can you tell me what this RPM stands for? Please don't say rotation per minute. What this RPM is for? Red Hat Package Manager. Remember, if you are a Linux guy, you know. Okay. Yes, you know that this RPM is basically the Red Hat application, Red Hat software. Then if you look at this particular tar.gz, this is also a compressed file. If you check this, this is also fx dependent tar.gz. OSX, this is your iOS, or what is that? What is the Apple's operating system? Mac. This is for Mac operating system. Okay. Plus, this is the source code as well. And I am using the GitHub link, so it is not some phishing link and all. Let me share that link with you guys. You can go through that as well. Not now. Okay. So you can download this easily and you can work with PowerShell version. Now let me get back to the image. So at max, what you can do is you can have PowerShell version 5 or 5.1, any one of them, it will be there in your machine. But parallelly, you can run 6, 7, 7.1 or 7.2 or maybe 7.3 also. Okay, so from 1 to 1.5, only one type of application will be there, but parallelly you can run any of them. So currently in my machine, you will see both the things. Let me show you. Here you can see PowerShell version 5.1, and also I have installed, where is that PowerShell? $host dot version. Check. I have 7.3 as well. So I have PowerShell version 5.1 and parallelly I'm running 7.3 also. The reason, if you're thinking why it is happening like that, these both are PowerShell only and how two different applications can work at the same time, your question is valid. But the way they are built, it's totally different. PowerShell, this old version, from version 1 to 5.1, it is totally dependent on .NET framework. If you do not have .NET framework in your machine, you will not be able to install PowerShell version. But on the other hand, PowerShell version 7, which is basically called as PowerShell core, this uses only the classes of .NET. Few classes from .NET it will be using it, meaning it is not totally dependent on .NET framework. That is the one major reason. Another reason is when you type Windows R and type PowerShell, you are basically calling the old PowerShell version only. Okay, like this. But when you press Windows R again and then you type PWSH, PWSH is basically the shortcut for PowerShell core. It opens the new PowerShell version core over here. You can see the difference. Okay, so that is how basically the PowerShell is. Multiple PowerShells are available in one single machine. So do not be confused. If after finishing the session, if you want to upgrade to PowerShell version 7, so simply go to GitHub, download the latest stable version from there, and then install it. How to install a Windows application? You know this very well. Double click next, 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 finish, done. No reboot, nothing will be required. And your new PowerShell 7.x will be available. Now, which version to be used? Now, here is a default list. Okay, it is totally dependent on you actually. Okay, let me take a simple example. You assume that you have to work with PowerShell DSC. That means you have to manage your infrastructure. Now, if you want to manage multiple machines using DSC, desired state configuration, PowerShell version 7 is not completely capable of doing that. So you have to go back to PowerShell version 5 only. This is the major reason. Now assume that you have to connect with multiple Windows and non-Windows operating systems as well. PowerShell 5 version is not capable to do that. So totally depends on your requirement. If you have PowerShell version 7, PowerShell version 5 or 5.1 available in your machine, you should be able to perform maximum automation over here. If you want beyond that, when it comes to the multiple or cross platform, then you might have to switch to the new version 7. Okay. Till this particular point, guys, do you have any queries? Please drop the questions in the chat window if you have any. I want to finish this theory fast and then I need to jump onto the practical. So please, if you have any concerns, any queries, please drop the questions in the chat window. Okay, fine. Let's move on. So working locally. So when you talk about working locally with PowerShell, what all things can be done? You can simply navigate to different files and file systems. You can list files and directories. You can create new files, new directories. You can connect with a cloud platform and then perform some job over there. You can edit a file. Okay. Now, when I say edit a file, editing is a bit different concept here in PowerShell. Either you rewrite everything, means whatever is there already available in the file, you overwrite everything, or you append the data into the file. But if you're thinking that, okay, I need to search some specific file content and then replace it, it is doable, but it is gonna take some time. Means you have to write more lines. It is not that easily doable using PowerShell, but it is doable. You can run script, you can run variable, you can use variables, you can use aliases, you can work with registries, you can connect with databases. Yes, even PowerShell is capable of connecting with databases and then hitting the queries. You can list the database, you can create tables, modify tables, insert something, view the content. All those things can be done. Fetching the hardware requirement, hardware and software information. Now, PowerShell is very much capable of doing that. Okay, let me jump back to my PowerShell and then I'll show you what exactly I'm talking over here. Now, here I want to just let me take a simple example. If I'm going for some trainings, generally this happens when I go for a training. The client company, they will ask my laptop details. Okay. They will ask for some serial number. They will ask for some BIOS information, anything. Now assume that you have to fetch out the BIOS information. Initially, what you will do, if you don't know about these kind of tools, you'll simply take a screwdriver and start unscrewing, or you go to internet and then start searching for some commands. One of the easiest command is get hyphen wmi object hyphen class win32 underscore BIOS. Simple. Enter, and here is my BIOS information. Simple. You want to target only the serial number of it, you can take everything into bracket and then only target the serial number. Okay, let me copy paste. Check. It is only pointing the serial number over here. So basically, it is not just like you'll be able to fetch only the software information, but also these kinds of hardware information also. Maybe you are working on some server core operating system and you want to find out some details and detailed information about that particular machine. So what you can do, you can simply go for another class. There are classes with the WMI object. WMI is Windows Management Instrumentation, which basically fetches the entire information of uh, a local or a remote machine and displays over here. There are thousands of classes available. You can use any of them. One of the class is, for example, computer system. Okay, actually I can ignore it like that or hit enter and there it is. So now you can see here it is giving me the total physical memory, who is the owner, work PC, which laptop I am using over here, and some domain information. So these kind of basic things, not even the basic things. Let me show you another Win32 underscore product, and just hold on, there it is. What exactly is getting displayed in front of you is the details of the applications which are installed on my machine. It is giving me the entire information. Now you'll say, Jitu, I want only the names of that particular tool and the version that I am using. Still doable. Do this, select hyphen object. What you want? I want name and version. These two things I want. So when I do this simply, come on, there it is. It takes some time because it is fetching the entire information, and I've installed tons of applications over here. So it is fetching each and every information, and then it is basically displaying over here. You can check this. So these kind of things can be easily done over here with the simple command like this. There are tons of commands. I have displayed just two commands only, but anything regarding your hardware. When I say hardware, monitor, keyboard, mouse, CPU, heatsink, fan, bus controllers, whatever is there on your motherboard, everything can be viewed with the help of these commands over here. Now, this is about hardware. About software, you have just seen the practical, all the installed applications, whether a particular application is installed or not, whether a particular role is installed or not. This is a client machine, so I can't show you the roles. But the same thing, if I go here, this is my DC machine, and I want to see, okay, let me open PowerShell IAC because there I can increase the font sizes. Now I want to know whether the IIS server is installed on this machine or not. I want to know that. I can simply go ahead and search for uh, IIS within my server manager dashboard. But if you have to do the same thing for hundreds of machines, will you do the same old technique, go to each and every machine and then view it? No. What you can do is get hyphen Windows feature, not image, sorry. Windows feature hyphen name of that particular server is web hyphen server, which is IIS. Okay. Someone has pasted the, it is win32 underscore BIOS. Okay. Get hyphen WMI object. Okay, someone is getting the error right now. Get hyphen WMI object. Okay, let me, you can try this particular command. If not, then you might have to install the modules. Don't execute in version 7.3. I told you there are several things which are not supported in version 7. Switch back to version 5 and then verify it over there. It should work out. So here, if you simply run this particular command, see. Now, if you look at this, it says display name, it is web server. And you can see the box is empty right now. It is empty, meaning it is not installed. And it says installed state, it is available for the installation. It is not actually available for, it is not installed. So if I go back over here, you can see on the left side, I do not have IIS. If I go back to my tools, you will not find the IIS settings available over here. That basically proves my point. Okay, so these kind of things can be done easily for your local machine or for your environment as well. Totally depends on you, what exactly you want. Okay, now let's come back. So here I have written several commands. Okay, like get hyphen computer info. This will basically give you the computer information. Then these classes I have added over here. Now look at this particular example. I have written a huge command over here. It is a huge command. But what this command is actually doing, if you look at this image closely, hold on. If you look at this particular image closely, total physical memory, it says 15.88. Earlier, when I executed the same command, this is computer system, check how it is happening. By default, PowerShell gives the details only in KB format, kilobyte. But obviously, if you show this kind of report to your manager or to your client, he's gonna scream, okay, I want the converted data. So even conversion can be done here in PowerShell. You can see here I have done something, but here in the end, I have got this 15.88 GB. I've got the entire information in the GB format. So even the conversion is that much easier in PowerShell. Okay, you don't have to go beyond PowerShell. Everything is already available over here. You have to use several concepts. Okay, and then you can simply play around with them. But it is very simple. And there are several commands which are very much similar to your command prompt command also. Like if you want to ping google.com, what do you do generally? Ping space google.com, right? I don't think I've written incorrect command over here. When you do this, hit enter, it pings. No problem with that. But this is a command prompt command. Where is the PowerShell commandlet? Okay, the commandlet is test-connection and then google.com. And you can see it is pinging google.com. This is what it is doing. Now you can see here the fourth packet failed over here, but 3 packets, it worked for me. Okay, so here you can see the even output is completely different. Here in PowerShell, it is completely different. If you want to learn, if you want to get into what all commands do I have, there is a list of there is a list of commandlet installed or available under one single command called get-command. This command itself, when you execute, it will give you a list of all the commands which are available on your machine right now. When I type this, hit enter, check what happens. Just hold on, hold on. There we go. These many commandlets are available in my machine right now. Possibly it might not be there, but it might not be there for you, but for me it is there. Now a challenge for everyone. If you want, you can take the console control of my machine, but your task is to count how many commandlets I have in my computer. That is the simple task for you. Will you be able to do it? I'm telling you, I'm giving, if I want, if you guys want, I can give you the access. You can access my machine and then start doing the calculation. You can calculate, you can count all of them. But see the list, the length, check. Come on, guys, tell me, will you be able to do this? Can you count number of commandlets for me? Come on. You can see it is difficult. It can be done. I will not deny it can be done, but hardly it is going to take 24 hours or maybe more than that. Let me do that in fraction of seconds. So here, when I do this, get-command, simply go for pipe measure hyphen object. Wait for it. And I have 9,459 commandlets, PowerShell commandlets installed on my machine. Possibly it might not, this entire number might not be there for you. I have, because I've installed Azure and AWS related commands on it. That is the reason I have a big number over here. For you, it might be 1,000, 1,500, somewhere around 2,000 only. Okay, but see how easy it is. Now you can browse through each and every command and then you can simply find out. So this is the basic working of PowerShell. If you're still thinking PowerShell is difficult, not at all. Let me tell you a command. Command is get date. Now, when I write this particular command, what do you think? What should be the working, or what should be the use of this particular commandlet? Get date, get hyphen date. What should be the usage? To display the date, right? And yes, it does the same thing. There is a command called get hyphen service. It displays all the running and stopped services on your machine. You can see here. You'll say, Jitu, why should I type this? I'll simply go for Windows R and then I will go for services.msc. And here I have all the services available. Yes, it is doable. I don't deny. But I assume your manager told, OK, give me the list of running services only. Now try to find it out. Now what you'll do in GUI, you'll simply click here, then you click on status, and then you get all the names over here, and then possibly you start writing the names one by one manually. Possibly you might do that. PowerShell can do the same job in a single line command only. How? Let me show you. What is the purpose? Purpose is we need to list all the running services. So here I can use another command called where-object, and simply I can go for status-eq and running. Simple. Do you think that you need some sort of explanation of what is written over here? Enter. And now I have only the running services available. Check. You'll say, Jitu, I want only the display name of the running services. Even yes, it can be done. I'll then go for select hyphen object. See, these commands I'm able to write flawlessly because I am working on this from a very long time. That is the reason I'm able to do all this. But for you guys, it is all about test and try. Simple. There are tutorials available, there are PDFs available, there are books available. But until and unless you start doing the basic commands or basic jobs, you will never be able to become expert in performing these things so easily. Okay, I'm not challenging anyone, but that is the reality. Everything needs practice. If it is so easy, I would be like the greatest person in mathematics. I'm very weak in that because I tried memorizing it. And you know, maths cannot be memorized. You have to practice. Same thing. So coming back over here, I want only the display name. Voila. There it is. Now assume you have to send this entire list as a text file to your manager. Now what you'll say, okay, Jitu, I got all the names. Let me copy all the names over here, then hit enter, then open Notepad, then paste it, then save it. Sorry, I'm not gonna do all such things. I am not gonna do all such things. PowerShell itself can do this for me. How? Let me show you. Simple, one liner. Pipe out hyphen file. File name would be uh, ps webinar.txt, something like that. Okay, enter. Now you'll see there is no output on the screen. Why there is no output on the screen? Because the output has been sent to the file directly. If you want notepad, there's the file. Open it and there you have it. See, and not even this, I can also email this file to my manager as well using a command called send-mail message. This is the command which I can use to transfer the email or attachment or whatsoever it is. Now think in the bigger perspective, bigger picture, where you have to fetch the report dynamically, save it into text file, and also you need to email it. Now it is doable directly when you write a bigger script over here. It is doable. This is what I'm trying to explain to you guys. PowerShell is not very difficult. It is all about practice. The more you practice, more it becomes easy. Okay, so this is what I have done over here. Don't worry about the commands, guys. I will be giving you bunch of commands to practice that you can perform on your local machine. So even you have a company's laptop, it can be executed over there. Okay, so let's move back to the presentation. Win32 product. I told you this is how it looks like. Now, this is the report which I have generated today itself. This is a report which I generated earlier. Now, if you look at this particular report, it's basically this is an HTML file. I took the HTML file snippet and then I have pasted over here. I will be sharing this script also. It is not something very unique I have done, but if you want to fetch the basic information, this script does it for you. So basically you can see here this is the server info, my local machine IP address generated on this date and time, computer system information. So my machine name is work PC Dell. This is the model number. These are the physical processors, logical processors, memory in GB, DNS, and the work group domain name. I'm using Windows 11 Pro 64-bit. This is the version and this is the installed date. This is the physical memory information over here. Okay, like that I have software information and my other informations as well. This each and every information I have fetched out from the PowerShell script itself. So when you get to that particular level, actually you will be able to perform these kind of things. Okay, there are tools available. You can go to internet, you can download them, you can install it. But sometimes your company will not allow, your organization will not allow you to install the third party applications. You need to raise a ticket and then it will be then you have to answer to your manager that why you need that application and tons of things. Instead, write a PowerShell script, run it, you are done. Nobody is going to ask you any question over here. Logs will be generated. I'm not denying logs will not be there. Logs will be generated. But what it has generated, that will be quite difficult to clarify. Okay. So working remotely. Now let us see how exactly we can work remotely also. Whatever I have shown you, it is all about one single machine only. You are able to do everything on one single machine. Now let's do something with some remote machines. For that, you can see just image over here. Host name is DC in the beginning in this image. Then I executed some command and you can see the prompt over here. Initially, this is the prompt. You can see here PSC user administrator. Later on, the prompt changed to mem1 PSC user administrator and blah 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 over here. So this was happening locally, and this happened remotely on the same prompter itself. PowerShell is capable of connecting with one or multiple machines at the same time to perform any type of job. Let it be one by one job or let it be multiple jobs at the same time. Okay, so let me show you how exactly it can be done. For that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna jump back to my machine. You can see here I have a DC machine and I have a member and member 2. These are the three machines which I have for the practical. Okay, these all three are Azure virtual machines. So you can create in whatever way you want. You can create locally or remotely and then play around with them. So I will log into my DC. And the very first thing I will do over here is first let me verify whether do I have the connectivity or not. But before this, why I'm using this black and white, white and blue window. Till now I was working on that black and white screen. So this is the PowerShell, actual PowerShell version. So if you're working on Windows 10, this is what you will be getting over here. This is the Windows PowerShell. If I do here $PS version table, you can see it is PowerShell version 5.1. This blue screen is basically called as PowerShell console, where you can write individual commands or you can run scripts. I never said you can create scripts. It can be done, I'm not denying, but it is much hideous task over here. When you have multiple scripts to create, when you want to work with multiple lines individually, then the console will fail. And in the background, we have this PowerShell ISE, ISE, meaning integrated scripting environment. Integrated scripting environment, ISE. This ISE is available in all PowerShell versions till 5.1. There is no ISE available for version 6 or above. Okay. Now, here, if you look at this ISE properly, there are two windows. Initially, when you log in for the very first time, you will find there are three windows available like this. There will be three windows in your screen. One is this blue, white, this blue, and here on the right side, you'll be have something called as commands. So white area is basically for writing the code, code one, code two, or line one, line two, whatsoever it is. This blue area will basically display the output of whatever you have executed or created. And this right side is the list of all the modules that you want. Like for example, I want all the modules, so all are available. I want specific modules. I want specific module regarding only like, let's say, uh, AZ compute. So now you will have only the AZ compute related regarding commands over here. So it is quite confusing in the beginning. So that's why I just cancel it out every time. I don't use that anymore. Okay. So here you can simply write the code and here you will get the output over here. Let's begin with a basic command like get hyphen date. When you run the get date command, you will have something called as output of this particular machine. Okay, simply you'll be able to get this data over here like this. You will have another command like, let's say, host name. This is a command prompt command over here. I'm just trying to show you that yes, even this is possible. You can run command prompt commands over here. Now, if you select them or simply run this green triangle, you can see the commands, the outputs are available over here. You can write one more command, something like get hyphen process. Okay, something like this. You run it and you have all the detailed information over here like this. Assume that you have written 500 lines and out of 500 you want to run only one command out of it. Is it doable? Yes. Using IAC, it is doable. How it can be done? So select your cursor wherever you want to, or which line you want to execute. And then you have this white and green that says run selection. Let me magnify. Let me magnify. Check this out. This is run selection and this is run script. Run script will run everything written in the script. Let it be one line or 1000 lines. But run selection will run only or execute only the selected lines. Now you can see here I've selected only line number 2. So what I'll do, I'll just hit the run selection button, and there we go. So like this, I can create multiple lines and I can simply run accordingly. Sometimes it happens that when you write a code, you need to verify whether the code is working or that particular part is working. So you don't have to execute everything from the beginning. Just highlight that and run for it. There is one problem with this IAC. If you are thinking, Jitu, what if I inverse or reverse this particular scenario? Meaning I want to run only line number 1 and 3. That is not doable. You can run together 1 and 2, 2 and 3, but not 1 and 3. So this should be selected properly. Okay, you can run one by one. I'm not denying it can be executed one by one like this, but 1 and 3 cannot be executed together. There is one simple thing, replace the position and then run it and you are done with it. So these kind of things can be done with the help of PowerShell IAC. Now let's begin with the pinging part. So ping space, my first computer name, it is member. Let's see, or let me change the command to test. Is there a comment concept? Yes, there is a comment. Without comment, I don't write my scripts only. This is a single line comment. Hashtag. Hashtag is a single line comment over here. When you have multiple comments to add, then this is what you can do. This is multi-line comment. When you don't need multiple lines, you can just minimize this also. And see, after 3, 8 is getting started because these lines are added over here. So when you collapse them, you can still use your console. Okay, so comments are also available over here. Okay, so test hyphen connection, I'll go for my first computer, that is member. That's my first machine, member. So when I run, oh, sorry, I'm inside my base machine. I have to go to DC. There it is. So test hyphen connection, and then I'll go for member and execute it. And you can see it is pinging. Similarly, I will again create second command like this, and then simply I can run the second line and you can see it is pinging the member 2 also. The remote computers are member and member 2. So both the machines are pinging. Okay. This is just to show you how exactly you can ping. You can use ping command also. I don't deny that it is not gonna ping. I'm not denying it. It will ping exactly how the ping command works like this. Okay. So you use any approach, it is gonna work out exactly in the same way. Now, what I want to do is I want to remotely manage the 3 computers all together or 2 computers all together. So what I will do now, I will create a notepad file. In that notepad file, I will write all the computer names where I want to do the modification or management, anything. Okay. So how it can be done? Notepad is a command, notepad space, or let's say systems.txt. Okay, I'm gonna create a notepad file in this location. If you don't specify the location, it will always take the location which is available over here. So it is gonna create this file. Okay, you can see here cannot find system.txt file. Do you want to create it? Yes. Now the new file systems.txt has been created. In this file, I will write names DC, comma, member, comma, member 2. In the same way, if you have 3 names, 30 names, 300 names, 3,000, 30,000 names also, exactly this is what you will be doing. So either it could be IP or name, anyone, or the combination also. Okay, but you have to specify the name or the IP address like this. Now, I will be working on all the computers which are available in this particular file. And that's how even the production works out. So I will comment out this line. I don't need that anymore. Now what I'll do, I have to fetch the information and save it over here. So $comp equals and get hyphen content is the command for it. Get content command fetches the information of a file and store it in a variable or array, whatever you want. So I'm just gonna do this and run it. And if I take only $comp, look, I've got all the 3 names over here. All the names are available over here. Okay. Why I did this? So that I can have all of my computer names stored in one single file. Why? Now I need to manage all of them. I need to manage all of them. So when you have to remotely manage from one machine to another, then in that case, you can use a command called invoke hyphen command. Invoke command itself will basically is useful when you want to manage multiple computers at the same time. So here, the very first thing is to which computer you want to manage. I have 3 systems available. So I will pass my $comp variable over here. So meaning that means it will be managed for all the 3 computers at the same time. What do you want to perform can be written inside a parameter called script block. The script block basically is the range where you can write multiple commands altogether. Let's create some folders and files and see if actually it works out or I'm just bluffing. So I'll write the command new hyphen item hyphen path is gonna be C colon and the name of the file is gonna be PS webinar and item type. I have to explicitly I have to verify. I have to tell that it is gonna be a directory and forcefully I'm gonna do that. Why I'm telling this is a directory, a folder? Because new item can create files and directories both. Okay. So next command I'm going to type new hyphen item hyphen path is going to be C colon backslash. And this is not created, so auto completion will not work. Manually, I'll do this. Path is this. Name is going to be, let's say, what? Batman.txt. Hyphen item type is going to be file. And I'm going to forcefully do this. So what it will do inside C drive, it will create a folder called webinar. Inside the webinar folder, it will create a file called batman.txt. It could be any name. That's why I've taken a random name over here. And let's put some data inside. So here, if you notice, get content is the command to get the content out of the file. To set the data inside a file, there's a command called set-content. I'm very sure that you might not be knowing how exactly the PowerShell works out, or you might have never worked on the PowerShell commandlet. But by looking at the command itself, I think you can assume how easy it is to work with PowerShell. I don't have to explain that what is the purpose of new item or what is the purpose of set content. It is pretty self-explanatory. Okay. Now, here I will go for the path. Path is gonna be this name. Okay, this is not working. Set content. Okay, let me take this and value. What do you want to put inside this? Okay, I'll write Y. So serious. Something like that. By the way, I love that movie, so I'm taking just that as a reference. But before I run this entire, let me quickly verify whether this folder is available. Maybe I have created this before the session even begins. Okay, so I'll go to this PC, C drive, and now you can see there are only 7 items available over here with no folder name called PS webinar. You can check that. Similarly, I will go to my another member machine. I will go to this PC and you can check again 7 items available where we do not have PS webinar available. I will go to member 2 and also I'll verify over here. Check again 7 items available with no PS webinar available. Okay. Now let's run this code. I'll select this entire. Whatever is hashtagged or commented, that will not be executed. So even if I run everything, not a problem. When I run this entire line, it does something and it gives me my prompt back. First, have a look at the output. What is the output we are getting? Check. So it says directory C. Means in C drive, what it did, mode, it starts with D. Means it's a directory. PS webinar on member server. Then member server, it created PS webinar batman.txt. It has set the value that is not getting displayed over here. Okay. On DC, it did the same thing. And on member 2 also it did the same thing. Let's go and verify. Go back. Now you can see in the end, I have 8 items available over here, which says PS webinar. Double click on it. I have Batman. Let me go to view and file name extension. You can see here batman.txt. Double click and why so serious? Same, I will go for my member 2 machine. You can see now here also I have 8 items available. Double click and there it is. Similarly, I'll go to this. Here you can see PS webinar, double click, Batman, double click, and why so serious. This is how easily you will be able to perform this bulk operation. I've just written 3 lines of command and that is what it is executing. It could be anything. It could be fetching the status report. It could be fetching the service report. It could be fetching the service information. Everything can be done with this particular command. Now, most important thing, how exactly it is working. So for this, there are port numbers responsible, and that is 5985 and 5986. 5985 if you are working in a HTTP environment, then 5985 port number will be required. But if you're working on HTTPS environment, then you need to make sure that you are running with port number 5986. That is point number one that you have to remember. Point number two, if you want this remoting to work, one thing you have to always make sure that WinRM service, Windows Remote Management service, must be running at all costs. If the WinRM is not running, then this automation will not work out. So these are the few things that you have to remember regarding the remoting concept. So this is one to many concept, okay? One to multiple, 64 computers can be connected at the same time, and then we can simply play around with them. That is the beauty. Now, what if I have to work with computer one by one? You all know that there is something called as RDS, Remote Desktop Service. And in every Windows operating system, there are only two logins allowed concurrently. Means only two users can log in parallelly and then work. If the third user logs in, it will ask either the first user or second user to log out, right? You might have done that. Assume that you two users are already working on that particular server and you have to perform some job on it, and that requires human intervention. So this particular command is not gonna work out for you. For that, we have something called as PS session or PS remoting, PowerShell remoting. What you can do is you can use a command called new hyphen PS session. You can give the computer name with which you want to connect. I want to connect with member machine, and I want to give a name to this particular connection. When two machines connect, you generally don't give the name, but when you have multiple machines available, you give a name over here. So I'm just giving uh, my web one, something like that. Okay, so this is the command that will basically allow you to connect to the remote machine. Now check this out. You are using right now PS console over here. When I type the command host name, it says DC. That means currently I am connected to DC machine. Let me run this and nothing will happen as of now. Nothing happens. What happened? It is just showing that there is one open state uh, configuration available for PowerShell with the member computer, and the name of this particular connection is my web one. So what I need to do is I need to now enter into this PS session. I need to enter. So I will take, now you can see here, you can take computer name, you can take session name, you can take instance ID or normal ID or name or anything. My favorite is ID. This is the unique feature which until unless you restart your machine, it is not gonna get uh, restarted again from one. But this is gonna be always unique. So I'm gonna take the ID as 4 because here it's written 4. With this, what will happen? You will enter inside that connection. And earlier, when you executed the command called hostname, it gave the output as DC. This time, when I do the same command, hostname, check what happens. It says member, meaning it is securely logged in to that particular remote machine and you are into this particular location. See user DC admin document. You can see here it is earlier only PSC user DC admin, but this time it is member colon member, meaning it is the member server where you have logged in and the location over here. And now you can do whatever you want from this particular point. You can manage firewall, you can manage service, you can manage process, user, data, registries, roles, features, anything can be done on this. Anything. Okay. Now let me go back to member machine. This is the machine. And let me show you that I do not have the web server available over here. You can see IIS is not listed. Let me refresh it. IIS server, you can see it is not listed over here. That means IIS is not installed. Let's install that using the PowerShell. Let's do that. How remotely you can manage, that is the whole game. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first thing, get hyphen. Okay, I have already executed this command in the morning. I'll copy that. I told you I'm very lazy in these things. So now when I run this, you can see it says display name and this box is empty. IIS web server. It says install state available. It's available for the installation. It's not installed yet. Now time to install it. Simple command is install hyphen Windows feature hyphen name, and I want to include all management tools and sub features over here. Everything. And I want this to happen with verbose. Means display here what exactly is happening over there. Then I will select this line number 5, and then just run it. So once you run it, it is gonna take some time and see, start installation. Verbose installation started, continue, prerequisite, proceeding, succeed. So it is done till now. Wait until it is done 100%. Okay, this is Windows. Sometimes it can fail. So let's see. Everything looks good as of now. .44, good. It's going quite fast. 45, 47. Okay, come on, do it quickly. 79, 80, 82, 83, 85, 6, 7, 88. Come on. 89. Okay. Okay. So now you can see the final result. It says installation succeeded. If you look at the result, success true means installation was done. Yes, it is done. Restart needed. Do you need to restart the service? So generally, when you install a role or feature, you don't have to generally restart it. So it says no. Exit code, it says success, and features. This is what it has done. Fine, no problem. Let's copy the same code, or you can execute the same line also and run this line again. This time you can see the difference between the two. Earlier we had this blank line, blank web server IIS available, but this time check. There is an X available in this box. And instead of available, it says installed. Means the IIS is installed on your member computer. Let's verify. Let's open this. Now you can see right now IIS is available over here. Earlier it was not there. Go to tools and you will have check Internet Information Service IIS Service Manager 6.0. So this is the best example of one-to-one management. Okay, you can see here still it is under member only. Okay, so assume that your task is done, your management part is over. Now what you need to do is you need to basically get out of this particular console. So for that, exit hyphen ps session, exit ps session and run it, and you're out of that particular scope. Simple. Now see, in these 5, 6 lines only, the entire management or installation of role is done. Assume you have 10 servers or 20 servers or 30 servers where you have to install IIS. Now you tell me which approach you will select. Manually, one by one, or write like this and then shoot the command. Simple. This is how basically we deal with it. This is how the PowerShell remoting works out. Okay, so you have to be very, very, very careful when you are jumping onto any machine and then performing some job over here. Okay, so before we proceed with further, do you guys have any questions, any queries? Please ask in the chat window. Drop the questions in the chat window quickly. Come on, guys, say something. Yes, no. Okay, okay, fine, fine. So now for practice, we need the commands. I will be sharing the commands, the basic set of commands that you can execute. I will be sharing that with you guys. So possibly by today late evening or by tomorrow first half, we'll try to email it to you guys. You guys can start practicing those questions one by one. Those commands, sorry, one by one. Now, let's go for one of the most important concept of PowerShell. Without that, I'll say PowerShell will not have that kind of respect in the market. The concept is basically called as DSC, Desired State Configuration. Desired state configuration is basically like assume that you are the administrator of your environment and you want to manage certain things in your environment. Now, when I say certain things, it could be user. You want a particular user must be available. It could be file. You want a particular file to be available or not to be available. You want a certain role to available or not to be available, and so on. Okay, so those things can be managed with the help of desired state configuration concept. DSC is something which will make sure that a particular service, a particular role will be available or it will be not available on certain or all machines. Okay, that is the whole and sole job of DSC. DSC is quite vast. It is a complete individual topic that generally I can take it for 8 hours or maybe more than that. It is so big. But in the generalized form, let's take the example and see how exactly the DSC works out. Okay. So to work with DSC, there is a code that you have to use, the proper procedure that you have to use, that is configuration, the first keyword, and then you can give any configuration name like uh, demo, something like that. And there will be a scope of this demo configuration. Okay. Now inside that, you have to target the node where exactly you want to apply that, where exactly you want to apply that particular. Now here I want to apply on, like, assume that I have 10,000 machines in my environment and I want to apply this on all the machines. So just write one word, that is localhost. Every computer name is localhost, if you remember. So it will be implemented for all of them. You don't want to implement for all of them, only a few of them. Like I have three machines, DC member and member two. Now I want this to be implemented only on member two. So I will write only member two over here. So node, if you want to apply on all of them, localhost, or selector, then you can go for member, comma, member two. But obviously it has to be in this format. Okay, now this is not working. You can see there is an error because it is expecting an array over here like this. Multiple things can be done, but I'm just gonna make it much simpler. Node 2. Now here, what exactly you want to implement on this particular machine will be written inside this. Okay. Now here I want a particular, like inside this node, I want particular feature like let's say Windows feature. Okay. Any feature name like my feature. Any feature name can be written over here. Okay. Now what feature you want to allow or deny, it requires two parameters. Parameter number one is the name that you are looking for. Assume that I'm looking for web-server. I can take any another example, but that might confuse you more. So I'm just sticking to one example only, web server. Now, what do you want with that? You have to ensure what? So either like Boolean value talk about, if you talk about Boolean value, it is going to be true or false, one or zero. Same way, ensure expects two responses. Either it will expect the keyword present, which will make sure if it is not installed, it will install it. If you don't want that, then it will basically, then you write absent over here. Then you write absent and you are done with it. This is exactly what you have to do. Okay, this is what exactly you have to perform over here. I have to make sure that it should be installed. So then I will write present. That's it. Configuration over. Now, this configuration needs to be delivered on member 2 machine. Who will do that? There's something called as MOF. Okay, MOF means Microsoft Object File, which is basically read by a component called LCM. Okay, it is local configuration manager. So LCM receives this MOF file and then applies it. Okay, see, try to understand in this particular way. Let me take the MS Paint. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to create a PowerShell script. Okay, I'm going to create a PS or PowerShell script. This script will be then converted into the MOF object, MOF, Microsoft Object File, because other client machines cannot understand what's written in this code over here. Directly, they can't understand. So it has to be converted into MOF file. This MOF file will be now delivered to your first node, second node, third node, or nth node, whatsoever it is. Delivered by LCM. Every Windows machine contains, let it be a Windows server or Windows client, every machine contains this LCM, local configuration manager, who takes this file and decodes and then applies onto that particular node. This is the concept. Okay. Now, how to implement this concept? Let's talk about that. So what you need to do is you need to basically generate the MOF file. To generate the MOF file, what you have to do is you have to just use the name of your configuration demo like this. You have to use the configuration name. Okay. Demo. Okay. Now with this, what will happen in this location? C user DC admin. It will generate a folder which will have member2.mof file. Let me run the code completely. Here it's giving some warning, that's fine, but you can see here member2.mof as I told. Now let me go back to that location. C user DC admin and check there is a folder called demo. Open it, there is a file called member2.mof. This MOF file will be taken by LCM and then it will be delivered. Just if you are curious to see what's there inside this file, open it with Notepad and there you go. Target node generated by generation date generation host. What you want, my feature, it should be present. So every detail, which feature should be present, it should be web-server and other details also. This is the MOF file content. Okay, so this is how you generate the MOF file. Let me write down over here. Generate the MOF file. That's how you do it. Now the MOF file is generated. After the MOF file is generated, what you need to do, you need to push the content onto the node or nodes. Okay, so basically to apply the what do you say, data to the target machine or machines. There's a command called start-dsc configuration and path of that demo folder name you have to provide, and then wait and verbose. Wait and verbose so that I can basically see that what actually is going on over here. Okay, so I will run this line over here. When you run it, see, let it do it, let it finish it, but check something called LCM is getting displayed over here. Windows feature, my feature is written over here, and it is doing something on the start installation. On the installation part, it is doing something onto the member2 machine. Okay, so it is performing the job right now. It is installing the IIS right now on that machine. Okay, hold on. There it is. Now let's look at the output. Verbose, an LCM method call arrived from DC with user SID so and so. So DC has sent the data to your member2. LCM start, set resource, test, start, all those things that is performing over here. It took 33 seconds to finish the installation. Okay, 34 seconds. Time taken to for configuration job to complete is 34.799 seconds. It finished it. Whether the configuration got applied or not, if you want to verify, you can simply go for another command, test configuration. If you want to test it, you can go for test-dsc configuration and sim session to which computer you have applied the changes. Now this is gonna be either true or false. If it is true, that means the changes are implemented. False, that means something went wrong. Run it and see. It is. So I don't even have to go to that remote machine to verify whether it worked or not. Still, if you want to check, no problem. It can be member 2. There it is. You can see right now only 4 options are there. IIS is not available. Let me refresh it. There you go. IIS got installed using DSC. Now, if you're thinking where else DSC can be used, let me go back to my Azure. Let's say member machine over here. Okay. And if I go back to, where is that option? Auto, no, not here. Configuration management, check. Desired state configuration management. I can simply apply all those things over here and then I can simply enable it. So I can create the mob file locally and then simply I can upload it over here. So even my Azure VMs can be modified in this particular manner. So not only for local machines, but also for remote machines, DSC will help you out. Okay, this is how we work remotely with the machines using PowerShell. So this is what I have shown you. Where else I can use PowerShell? So basically PowerShell can be attached or can be connected with different options like Azure. You can connect it with Azure and then simply you can use it. Let me also show you that option. It's not that difficult. I will open PowerShell. I've already installed PowerShell module. You guys don't do it, otherwise you will get the error. Login on not login. Connect hyphen easy account. So it is gonna give some information. Once I connect, and there it is. You can see it is showing some tenant ID and my mail ID and other stuff over here. Actually, I got connected or not? Let's check. Get hyphen azvm. This gives the list of, this is the command that shows what all virtual machines are available in your portal right now. You can see DC, member and member 2 under the demo RG. Let me show you that. Source group, see demo RG. Okay. Inside that, let me go to virtual machine, DC, member and member 2 all are available under demo RG. That's what I can see and do from this particular portal. So using PowerShell, you can connect with your Azure account and then perform whatever task you are looking for. With SQL Server, you can connect. With Visual Studio, you can connect. Office 365, Power BI, Windows Server, AWS, Exchange, Skype, SharePoint, and even using Linux. You can connect your machine, your PowerShell, and then simply work with it. Now, one thing to be noticed, not 100% access will be there on the Linux machine. Frankly, I'm telling you. Okay, someone wrote, can I manage AZ and Kubernetes, kubectl using PowerShell? To an extent, yes, it can be done. You have to manage, you have to install the required role, and then you have to work with it. But yes, doable. So coming back to the point, Linux will not give you 100% of the access. Still, it is under development. Still, developers globally, they are working on it. They are trying to make PowerShell much communicatable using communicatable to Linux or other operating systems. They are still working on it. It is work in progress right now. But yes, to an extent, it can be done. Okay, that's all. Okay, that's all from my end. So if you guys have any concerns, any queries, this is the mail ID where you can ping. Can we expect another session for non-Windows OS through PowerShell? Yes, it can be done if we have enough participants. Yes, definitely it can be done. It's not a problem at all. So this is the mail ID. If you guys have any concerns, any queries, you can uh, drop or shoot the emails. And as per my availability, definitely I'll try to resolve your queries. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So if you have any concerns, please you can start asking the questions. Don't leave the webinar, please. We have few more things to perform. Like we have to take the feedback. Once the feedback is done, then only you should leave, because whoever will be giving the feedback, only to them I will be sending all the notes and questions and everything. Yes, I will be sharing the commands, not only commands, a list of things I'll be sharing with you guys so that you can actually perform practicals onto that. Okay. So I'll request my team. Bhagya, are you there?
Yes, Chito, I'm here.
Yeah, you can share the feedback link and then we can wind up.
Yes, yes. Actually, I was just drafting the message for that. So, hello, good evening, everyone. So, I'll be giving the feedback form link now in the chat box. So, where you can go and enter the details and submit it. It would be very helpful for us to conduct the next trainings based on your requirements. And I would like to thank everyone for your precious time and making this event successful. Thank you, everyone.
Guys, fill the feedback and drop done in the chat window so that we'll get to know that you guys have filled it.